Hi and welcome to A Drummer's Guide to, the podcast all about the things that it takes to be a professional musician aside from actually playing your instrument. My name is Emily Dolan Davis. I have been drumming since 1999. I've been professional since 2008 and helping others reach their professional goals since 2018, and that is why we're here today. So today I want to address a subject. It's kind of a catch-all sort of subject because of things that I keep sort of seeing, things sort of keep coming up recently, and I'm like, this is interesting, and it's across multiple people, and then I've thought back to my own journey, and, you know, I recognize these traits in myself, these things that I'm seeing, and I just thought that I would address them. So the catch-all for all this kind of subject, I suppose, are the things that we do to try to avoid the things that we should be facing, basically, and we know that we need to do. It's not always playing related, but I suppose it's kind of the things we tell ourselves, actually. That's actually more accurate. That gives us the excuse to not face the very things that are going to make a difference. And often, and a lot of my students have found this, often they're very simple things that we're avoiding, but they're very difficult things at the same time. They're not easy. If they were easy, everyone would do them, everyone would be a lot more successful. But yeah, there's very simple things that are very, very difficult to sometimes face. So I thought I'd just go through a few of the things that I'm seeing a lot recently, and also, like I say, things that I myself have definitely found myself in these sorts of headspaces, and then I will finish off saying, sort of like suggesting maybe the things that if one of these is resonating with you, maybe there's something that you're avoiding. I will offer some suggestions, and like I say, these are purely the things that I personally have avoided over the years, so that's kind of where that's coming from. So I've written them down because I want to make sure that I don't forget any, obviously, and sort of, you know, try and be concise, you know me, as in trying, not that I'm concise. I'm rarely concise unless I really make the effort. So today the effort is being made. So the first one, and again, this is one that has come up fairly recently, a few times, and it always hits me in a certain way, because I don't know why. Maybe I'm guilty of it. Maybe it's because I can be so, in fact, I've just thought about why it probably is. Yeah, it's deeper than most things. Yeah, it's basically, I will get into it, maybe I'll move into my experience with it on a deeper level, but basically telling yourself that there's no work out there and then seeing that around you. There's this thing called confirmation bias, basically, where if you believe something, you're more likely to see examples of that around you to reinforce your beliefs. And this happens across the board in various different ways. And I feel like it can be a really powerful thing in a really positive way, or a really detrimental thing in a negative way. And unfortunately, recently, I have heard multiple people saying things like, there's no work out there, you know, nobody's on the road, everyone's struggling, all these sorts of like negative things. Now, whilst I'm not going to say that isn't true, that is true. There are people that are struggling, there are some people that are not on the road, but equally, there are a lot of people that are out there working, they're doing their thing, they are inundated with work, and whether that's touring, whether that's recording, like it, or anything else, the work exists, it is out there. But like I say, I think I've come across a few people who have this absolute belief that there is no work, and unfortunately they then find themselves in situations that confirm that belief, and they have ended up surrounding themselves with people who are saying the same thing, and they're creating this echo chamber of, oh, well, this must be true then because we're all saying it. We're all not working. We're all off the road. We're all struggling here together. Now, whilst I love a bit of camaraderie, you know me, I love a bit of camaraderie, I think that this can actually be incredibly detrimental to your own personal success. And I think looking back, like, So first of all, so in terms of why this really gets to me, like it really irks me. And I think there's the reason for that is deeper than just work, because I have had issues with almost feeling like I can't be negative in a way. Like I have to be positive all of the time, and that's for various reasons that I won't go into. But that has helped me, I think, because I always try to, let's say I happen to be surrounded by people that are saying these things, I will cite an outlier, maybe to them. To me, I choose to believe that that is the rule, not the exception to the rule. But I've always tried to focus on the people that are doing the thing that I want to be doing, and therefore telling myself, yeah, the work is out there. It's just I'm not working right now, and that's okay. Like the work exists. I just need to be better. I just need to do more. I just need to, and I'll come onto these in a minute because some of these are slightly skeweth also. But a sort of an addendum to this that I wanted to say as well is that if you find yourself in that echo chamber of people, it can be very, very difficult if you believe that, like to your core. It's very hard, nigh on impossible to change beliefs. I mean, it is possible, of course it is, but it is difficult. It's very, very hard. So I think if you're finding yourself saying, right now, if you're listening to this going, she's chatting rubbish, she's only saying that because XYZ, and you're giving a whole bunch of reasons why I'm wrong. Like, there is no work. Right, okay, that's fine. I accept that that's your opinion, and that's all right. But maybe just question it slightly. Question, not only what you're telling yourself, like, how is that useful to you? It might be really useful. It might make you work harder and all of that. But the thing is, there is this blockade that is going to be there, even if it's subconsciously. If you happen to get an audition and you're walking into the room with the belief that no one's got any work, there's no work to be had, I'm not going to get this because nobody's working, even subconsciously, you're going to be giving vibes that is not going to be great. And people pick up on that, like I say, even if it's not consciously. And you will play out what you believe. It will play out one way or another. You might get the gig, but maybe like a couple of weeks down the road, things change and all of a sudden you're not on the gig, and you can tell yourself, oh, see, it's because, nobody's working, or whatever the reason, right? So I think that this is where playing with a lot of different people, hanging out with a lot of different people really, really helps. Like, I had this situation where someone was chatting to me and they said, there's no work. And I was like, all right, well, like nobody's working. That's what they said. And I said, okay, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but loads of my friends are working constantly. Like, they're out on the road consistently. And they were like, well, I went to this jam night and there was this musician there who's always on the road and they're not working. And I was like, well, that's fantastic. And they were like, well, what? Like, why? And I was like, because this person that is working a lot, they're currently at jam night, which means that you can connect with them, you can play with them, you can, just create a friendship. If they're always on the road, you won't often get this opportunity. And that's how I chose to see it. However, they chose to see it as, this therefore means that if this person isn't working, then nobody's working. But let me tell you, a month down the line, they'll be back on the road. Like, of course they were back on the road, because that's how it works. Like, these things ebb and flow. And if you get an opportunity to be hanging around with someone like that, that is working consistently, just be in their presence, notice how they're conducting themselves, what kind of things they're talking about, what they're telling themselves. If you want to get deep with them, get deep with them. If they're open to that, great. But yeah, I just find it very, very interesting that people will choose to tell themselves things that will fit their narrative. And I do believe that, all of these things that we tell ourselves are a way to avoid something else that maybe will actually make a difference. So, and maybe it's the fear. Maybe it's the fear of, if the work was there, maybe I still wouldn't be wanted. That's possible. And hey, that is possible. It is a possibility, but wouldn't you rather know? And also, that's not a fixed result. Like, just because, let's say you don't get one audition, that doesn't mean you're never going to work for the rest of your life. let me tell you, I haven't got loads of auditions. I was talking to someone literally today about a particular audition that I didn't get, and it was just, it's just a bad situation. Like, I was just in the wrong headspace, uh, and I didn't get it. And that's it. And I moved on, and it was a fairly big gig. There's so many gigs that I haven't got. And at the time, obviously, it's heartbreaking. Of course, it is. But you move on. You learn from it. I've learned from every audition I've ever done, whether I've gotten it or not. More when I've not, to be fair. So, I understand that it's safer to tell yourself these things to protect yourself. And I'm someone who protects herself to the nth degree in certain ways. What I was going to say was, I started going off on a tangent, and I think I veered away from it. I think that's why it's useful to be hanging around with lots of different people, different groups. So you can have one group that is an echo chamber of negativity. That's fine, because sometimes you get other really interesting conversations or interesting situations, maybe great musicians. I know some great musicians. Oh my gosh, they have got the most negative attitude, but they're fantastic players, so you can't take that away from them. It doesn't mean you should write people off just because they have a negative attitude, absolutely not. But one day I might be with the most negative Nancy's you've ever heard in your life. And then the next day I'll be with the most positive people. One day I'll be with a band that is saying, I'll be playing a function gig with a band saying, oh, there's no work around, we have to do these rubbish covers gigs, function gigs, which, side note, I love a covers gig. I love a function gig. They're so fun to me. But anyway, they might be saying that, we have to do all these function gigs, da, 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 da. The next day, I will be with another function band, and every single musician within that band is on the road with other people, and they just happen to be off the road currently, so this is what they're doing to make ends meet. And it's like, this is fantastic. And they're like, yeah, I'm going back out next month, da, 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 da. And very, same scenario, very different attitudes. But these things exist, and I think that it's really useful to just be around loads of different people with loads of different sort of approaches to things. But if you find yourself, I don't know, I suppose it's about noticing the stories that we tell ourselves. And I'm sure I have many biases, many things that I tell myself that are detrimental to me that I am not even aware of. But like I say, if you've listened to this and you've gone, oh, why is she saying that? That's not true. Rah, 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 rah. Just question it. So that's the first one that I wanted to kind of present, should we say. So the second one is calling other people lucky, followed by jealousy, essentially. The kind of thing of, I'm a better player than them, why are they working and I'm not? Now, I have been guilty of this 100%, especially growing up multiple times with multiple people, and I've never voiced these things, but they've been happening inside my brain. And it's really, it feels so difficult in the moment when you're seeing someone and you're just going, they're okay. They're not the best player. Why do they get to go on the road for the next 8 months with this huge artist? Why are they playing these massive stadium tours and I'm playing the dog and duck down the road? Which, although fun, let's face it, that certainly wasn't my aim growing up. I wanted to be on the big stages. I wanted to be on tour. And I could not recognize what the discrepancy was. In my mind, I was a better player than various people. I could do the job. So why was I not there and they were? And like I say, if you find yourself feeling that way, there is definitely something other than your playing. Well, it's one of two things. Either you don't have a realistic idea of the level of player that you're at, which I was guilty of for sure. The only way that I faced that head on, like a collision course, was recording myself and listening back. And the second that I did that, I recognized, I was like, oh, that's why. Let me rephrase, that's part of the reason why, retrospectively. But that was part of the reason why, because I was not playing the way that I thought I was in the moment. When I listened back, no. It was not where I felt it needed to be. I wasn't miles off. Maybe not miles off, but maybe a couple of miles off, you know? There was a lot of work that needed to be done, but I did it. And the only way that I could do that was actually facing it. For me, the other parts of it were certainly my performance. When I was playing, I looked very static, I looked very bored, very timid, very unconfident. And again, that's something else that I addressed. And then the other part of it was, and what I mean is the people that I was watching, they were putting on a show, they were performing, they looked fantastic, they looked dynamic, they looked energetic, there was an energy on stage that came from them. The other part of it, which was very, very hard to kind of see, was the behind the scenes side of things, which was the networking, the going out and hanging out, the going to jam nights, all of that. I was not doing that enough, I don't think, at certain points of my career. Once I started doing it, things started moving, funnily enough. Things started actually happening. But again, it's very easy to use the excuse of like, this person is just lucky. It's luck. Let me tell you, yes, luck is involved, but you can certainly increase your luck. What is it? For every sort of skill that you have, for every action that you take, think of it like buying a lottery ticket. And yes, it's still a lottery, there's still luck involved, but for every ticket that you buy for yourself, as it were, you increase your luck of winning that jackpot, of actually getting to do this as a career. Also, the odds are way better than the actual lottery. So yeah, that's what I truly believe, that the more action that you take, the more skills that you gain, the more people that you know, all these things, the more that you're increasing your chances, essentially. So that's how I feel about that, the sort of lucky factor. Like I say, there is luck involved. I would never, ever say otherwise. I consider myself insanely lucky in so many ways, just how things have unfolded in my life. I'm fortunate, very, very fortunate. I'm not saying that there isn't hard work that's gone on alongside that, but I have to recognize that. I think we all do. We're all fortunate in various ways. So that's the luck side of thing. Again, I hear that a fair amount, like they're just lucky and I'm better than them, why am I not getting the work? And as I say, I've been there. I can actually remember moments that those thoughts have like gone through my mind. The earliest one was when I was like 12 years old with this poor blues drummer that I was just like, I'm better than them. And I'm like, now I'm like, dude, you were 12 years old. They were like in their probably mid-50s. Time. There's time and age and experience that you need to have. You've been playing for a year, young Emily. A year. Anyway, sorry, a little personal gripe with myself. So another thing that I hear so often, so often, that is certainly something used as an avoidance tactic, I believe, is if I just get X amount of followers, then I'll be sorted. Dude, this one I hear so often, and honestly, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Because for me, and I know I harp on about this and I apologize, social media is a tool, it is a platform to promote yourself. It is a way to have your own self-promotion. But if you're not promoting something, i.e. yourself, the skills that you have, the performance that you're doing, the gigs that you're doing, if you don't have a goal of, I want to use this to connect with other musicians so that they will be calling me for work, then you can have 100,000 followers. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Unless you want to be like an Instagram drummer or a YouTube drummer, which is fine. Personally, that doesn't appeal to me. Music for me is about, connecting with other people on stage in the audience, recording, really getting deep into the emotions. I can't get that from being in a room by myself, playing the drums, recording it. I can't. It feels so cold to me. The only reason that I will be in my studio or in my rehearsal room or whatever, recording and releasing, is for a bigger purpose. It's never for this. I would hate for that to be the end goal. That is my personal feeling on it. And I don't have a lot of experience in terms of like being a successful Instagram drummer or YouTube drummer or what else, TikTok drummer. I don't have that, and that's fine. I trust me, I have made more than my peace with that. It's never been my aim. So I understand that if that's your goal, there is an element of that. But again, to what end? Because let's say you have 100,000 followers, right? But let's say that only 1,000 of those, or no, let's be generous, 5,000. So 5% of those, 5,000 of those are kind of your ideal follower, the person that is really into drumming, or if you're a drummer, they want to see all your videos. Da, 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 da. Now, if you've got 100,000 followers, but you're only getting 5,000 followers worth of engagement, which let's say that looks like 20 comments, that's actually doing yourself a disservice, and it actually brings up red flags of like, okay, and also that you're not going to earn a living from that. Let me tell you, not from 5,000 people watching your video. 100,000, a little bit, but it doesn't make sense to me. There needs to be more than that. Let's say you do have 100,000 followers. They need to be the right followers, not just the numbers don't matter. The quality of the numbers does. And that's what I've certainly found. And I've done the wrong thing in the past, you know. Let's see, when was this? And I don't think I've spoken about this on the podcast, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I'm going to do it anyway, so it is what it is. So this would have been back in 2010, 2011. I bought followers. Not a huge amount, but some. It's the stupidest thing I've ever done for my social media. Luckily, that social media is gone, long gone, so it's not impacting me now. But what happened was I then had this bigger number that didn't translate to my engagement levels, which made me feel really insecure and really like imposter syndrome. Apart from that, I was being an imposter, like actually legitimately, because I paid for these followers. So these people were randos. They were not good quality followers. So it all kind of backfired on me, and I spent my time trying to chase this number that I already had but didn't really have. It was all very confusing. So when it comes to the number of followers, no, there needs to be a reason to have that number of followers, and the quality of them. I'd rather have, 1,000 perfect sort of like followers in terms of I can give them value. They find what I post valuable and interesting, and it helps them. I'd rather have 1,000 rather than 100,000 of people that kind of whatever, who cares? Like, to me, it's a no-brainer. It's literally a no-brainer. Anyway, that's my vibe, at least, on the followers thing. I believe that by focusing on a number, you're avoiding maybe what those followers mean and what your goal is, what the aim is, and it's not just a vanity metric, as they call it. It's all nice and well having a nice big number, but so what? It doesn't change your actual career, your business, your aims, your goals, and your achievement, basically. It really, really doesn't. If anything, it can actually be detrimental to it. So that's that. The final one is one, again, that I see so often, and this is people telling themselves, I just need to be a better player. Oh, this one is deep for me. Like, deep. I would tell myself this so often. I just need to be better. I just need to be better at this. I just need to be, better at XYZ, or never faster for me. I was never interested in being a faster player. But like, my groove needs to be better. Now, as I always say, don't get me wrong, I believe that we will always all be striving to be better musicians. Like, that's the deal. And that's the best part about playing an instrument. You're always going to be developing. But I think by saying, if I just get better, things will start happening. It's that, what is that? That saying by Albert Einstein, allegedly, that says insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. It's very much that. That is the epitome of that for me. And as I say, obviously we have to be at a certain level to be able to do the job that we're trying to do, but there's so much more to it that you cannot avoid. You can try, and I am the avoidant person. I've tried to avoid so many things, tried to circumvent, tried to get shortcuts to things, because I just was trying to avoid a very simple very, very simple action that I was so terrified of taking that I was like, I will try everything but first. And this is outside of music also, like, oh my gosh, like you wouldn't believe. I will always just try to do everything else but the thing. And I've found this a lot with different people that I chat to as well, that they do believe that if they're just a better player, things will get better, they will be offered more work, all of this. And I will cite this again because my dad told me this when I was very young, and it's true. You can be the best player in your bedroom, but if no one knows about you, it doesn't mean diddly squat. And yeah, so I think that this is a really good or very useful thing to tell yourself to avoid all the other things, because look, practicing in our own space, on our own kit, oh, it's comfy. Yeah, you might be trying out new things that are difficult and all of that, but you're in your safe space. You're safe. You're safe. Nobody's seeing you or judging you or anything like that. But it's the stuff that does open you up to judgment that are the things that are going to make the difference. So with that being said, some of the things that I believe that all these things as a catch-all are avoiding are things like going out and meeting people, and whether that's going and hanging at gigs, whether that's going to jam nights, that really is opening yourself up for judgment and vulnerability. You know, it's easy to say, if I'm just a better player, okay, I can tell you right now, the thing that is going to make you better and take you to the next stage in your career, in your playing, are doing the uncomfortable things. Getting on stage and jamming with someone, not knowing what you're about to play until the last second, terrifying, it can all go wrong, all of this stuff, the worst can happen. I can guarantee you will learn something from it, and you will step up in a major way. And the next time that you go, not only the bravery of getting up a second time if things have gone wrong, I bet you they won't go as wrong as you think they're going to go, because this is the other thing, like, we tell ourselves so much about what's going to happen. We are fortune tellers. We look into the future and we know what's going to happen. You don't. Get up, go get some actual data. Turn from being a psychic to a scientist. Go and find out yourself. Go and investigate. Like, if that is a way that you can almost remove yourself from the emotional side of it, because it's very emotional. I mean, music is emotional anyway at the best of the times, let alone if you're getting up there and going, hey, I'm a new person and here is my soul. Or even worse, if you know people in the room and you feel like they have expectations of how you play, who you are as a musician, and you can't live up to those expectations, oh my gosh, even worse. But these are things that are all in your head. And yes, that might happen, but I almost guarantee you, every single person on that stage is feeling exactly the same way as you and feeling just as insecure. So instead, if you can create an environment where you're trying to make each other feel as comfortable as possible and just enjoy the moment, like, it's music. Nobody's gonna die. Also, reputations are not built or destroyed on one jam night song. They're not. I have seen world-class players on stage who they just, for whatever reason, in fact, for many reasons, some very funny reasons, they've not played their best. But do you think that I've then gone, oh, they're not that good? No, I've just gone, oh my God, that's so either hilarious or brilliant. And oh my God, they're human. Thank goodness. I thought that they were perfect. They're imperfect. Oh, what a relief. And it's made me really like them so much more and just be like, this is cool. And the fact that you are able to get up there and be imperfect, I find really amazing. And look, if you get off stage and someone gives you grief for not doing a great job or whatever, that's telling you so much more about them than it is about you. Often those will be the people that themselves have not gotten up, probably ever, because they don't understand the bravery that it takes to get up at a jam night, to play in front of either a room full of strangers. Like I say, it's worse if it's a room full of your peers and you're feeling like that. It's so much worse. And we've all been there. Like, if anything, you'll get a good story about it. Like, years down the line when you're on the road or whatever, and oh my god, I went to this awful jam. Like, it was a great jam. I was awful. Oh my goodness. Like, I promise you, it won't be that deep. I think the thing is just keep turning up. Keep turning up. It is about the process, and to a point, it's about becoming familiar with the people around at jam nights, at gigs or whatever. And also, the more comfortable that you get with the people, the more comfortable you get with the kind of songs that they're playing, the better job you're going to do. And let's say it's 2 months down the line, you've been going every week, but now you're in the groove with everyone. And like, people love having you get up because you all just get each other, you know? And that is what happens. I found my place with that. I found my jam. It was at the Ranelagh. It was called the Toy Box Jam. It was in Bounds Green back in the day. And it was such a joy. And it was a mess. Sometimes it was chaotic. A lot of the time it was chaotic. And that's what made it fun. But when it hit, when you got like your people on stage, like, and that wasn't necessarily the house band, it could be people that just like blew in every now and again. Like, there was some such special nights that were just so, yeah, like some of my favourite experiences in music, and they were in a little pub in North London. Like, so good, and it led to so many more opportunities and connections and all sorts of stuff. So I really sorry, I've gone on a bit much about this particular thing, but yeah, in terms of like getting out there, networking, incredibly important. Like I say, simple concept, very hard to execute, very hard. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. It's difficult. It's taken me years to, and even still to this day, if I were to go to a new jam and it was, chances are they'd be full of people that I knew, I'd still be terrified getting up. I would. I'm not trying to pretend. Like, absolutely. All those things still go through my head. And I can guarantee you, a lot of people, it's going to be the same. There are some that will be very comfortable because they've been there a long time. It's normal to them. So try to get to the point of normalization. I think that's it. But there is a rough patch before you get to normalization. Let me tell you, very rough, very confronting. It'll make you a better player, a better person, a better, just more part of the industry, basically. So I really believe that. Another thing, like in terms of avoidance, is maybe you're avoiding your social media. Maybe you're like, oh, what's the point? You know, if I'm just a better player, I don't need social media. Okay, you cannot have social media, but it's just going to make your life so much harder. But I think that seeing it in such a way that it is a tool to promote yourself, and to, let's say you meet someone at a jam night, if you can then, let's say you get on really well, and then you can point them to your social media, they see you playing and go, oh my god, I got on so well with da da da, and look at their social media, yeah, it all tracks. Fantastic, obviously very professional, like, I want to get them in on a gig. That is how things happen. That is literally it. If you don't have a social media presence, it will take a notch away from you, because it's like, oh, okay, well, I met them once and I played with them once for one song, but I can't be sure that, you know, if they're recommending you, it's their actual reputation on the line. Whereas if you have social media, they can say, oh, I met this person yesterday. They seem really great player, cool person. Here's their socials. Let me know what you think. And if the consensus is, oh, they look like they'd be a great fit, you're in. Like, I've gotten gigs from that, literally that. And why would you not? It's just an extra, it doesn't need to be fancy or anything like that. It just needs to show you as the player that you are. That's what it needs to do, so that brand new eyes can look at it and get a good sense of who you are as a person and as a player. So there's that. Another thing, as I mentioned before, I think, you know, I just need to be a better player, all this sort of thing. You might be avoiding all that thing of being jealous of why are they on bigger stages and I'm not. It's other things like the performance side of things. Such an important element that I think that people really do not understand, is that if you look stiff and uncomfortable on stage in any various ways, it's less likely you're going to get the call, because you want someone that can, like, as I always say, to a point, everyone can play. Like, most people can play a pop gig, really, but to be able to perform on a pop gig and bring something to the table, that is that extra little bit that most people don't even think about. So if you're thinking about that, if you're working on that, people are going to start to notice. And I have this so often with my clients. It's fantastic. When they start working on their performance, there's one particular thing that happened was it this week or last week? So someone went in on a dep gig. They've been working on their performance. They went in and it was kind of almost a bit like a jam. But anyway, they were able to play in a very projecting way, very comfortable, very relaxed, smiling, vibing with the other band members. And someone came up to them at the end and said, who do you usually play with? Because you're clearly a session musician that, I don't know why you're playing this tiny gig here. Who do you usually play with? And they're aiming towards that, but the point is they're projecting that already. And the fact that other people are picking up on it really just shows that is the thing that makes the difference. And although it's a simple concept, very hard to execute. When you start filming yourself and watching yourself back and actually addressing these things, it's hard. That was a bitter pill for me to swallow when I had to do that. But it is the turning point for me. Someone used the term watershed moment yesterday, and I thought, is that the right way to use that? Because I don't feel it is, so I should probably look that up. But there have been a few turning points for me, and that certainly, I feel, was the thing that really tipped me over the edge in terms of my career. Was as soon as I realised and recognised the importance and the value of performance, that was when I started getting proper calls, and those calls haven't really stopped since then. And again, there is an element of luck with that, and I'm very fortunate. But if I hadn't have addressed that, I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am today. 100% not. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there because I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say, I think. But if you have enjoyed this episode, if you found it valuable, please do feel free to like, share and subscribe. If you would like to support this podcast on Patreon, you can. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can on Patreon at patreon.com/EmilyDrums. If you would like to suggest a subject for a future episode, you can go to emilydrums.com/AMA, as in Ask Me Anything. Or if you would like to book in for a free discovery call and we can work one-on-one on your specific things that you're aiming towards, your specific goals. Hopefully I can offer some insight into the blind spots that you might have. You can book in for that free discovery call, which is a 30-minute call to see how I can help you. And that if you go to emilydrums.com, you can book in for that there. Anyway, hope you're having a lovely day, wherever you are, whatever you're up to, and I will see you next time for another subject. All right, lots of love to you. Bye.